let's begin with your decision to deregister the Bergview College. What is your decision premised on? MEC, I think you are muted. I apologize. Please unmute for us.
Yes, good evening, Polly. Good evening to the viewers of Newzroom. Yes, we were given a report by the Office of the Chief Director for the Cluster A at the end of the last year, 2024, around the case of rape in Bergview College in Matatiele. So we conducted our own internal investigations in that regard, but we could see that there is a bit of reliance, resistance in terms of the affected parties to come into the law enforcement agencies. And therefore, the implications are quite dire because remember, the regulation also requires us that schools must be safer places. So you can't have a school that is marked into a rape case in the manner that it was. So we had to either find an alternative way out to complement the justice cluster in ensuring that we respond to the call of duty. And hence we have to apply our mind in deregistering the institution on the basis that the safety of the kids is not guaranteed as per the regulation of independent and private schools as enshrined in the Eastern Cape Department of Education policy framework.
The safety of the children, MEC, is of paramount importance. I don't think anyone will argue that. However, the people that say they are the Board of Trustees have issued a statement saying, and I want to quote directly, his purported decision is illegal and invalid and does not comply in any way with the prescripts of the South African Schools Act or the Eastern Cape legislation relating to the registration or deregistration of independent schools. How do you respond to that?
Firstly, let's clarify the issue of the functions of the Office of the HOD and the functions of the MECs and probably the functions of the ministers and DGs. Remember, HODs does not have original functions. They operate in terms of the law or in terms of the delegated functions from the Office of the MEC. And therefore, their application of the legal prescripts and interpretation thereof, in my view, is flawed, precisely because on policy-related matters, the accounting officer accounts to the MEC, and therefore the policy holder of a ministry in that regard. And therefore, in terms of what they are arguing, it will be interesting whether are they arguing on procedural grounds or on the merit of the case at hand, which is, of course, for me, is not an issue. Because remember, you are dealing with people that didn't want to go to court from 25th of October last year. And if then they were quite serious about this matter, wouldn't be where we are now. So that argument does not hold anyway in terms of how I interpret.
All right, MEC, let me interrupt you still on that point, because when you say it'll be interesting what their argument is, the statement here I have from the Board of Trustees, it seems to go to the heart of the matter as to what it is they are arguing. And they are saying, I quote, the MEC has further taken to the media and stated that the reason given for the closure of the school is that the principal has not submitted himself for DNA testing in this tragic matter where a minor child is alleged to have been raped in the Matatiele community. The principal, according to the South African Police Service, is not a suspect in the case of rape and is not connected with such a matter in any way.
Oli and the viewers, that's a misrepresentation of facts. The principal is one of the suspects that should have been submitted long time ago. Remember, you have got the driver and also the caretaker that was part of the tree that should have been submitted, and therefore the two has been able to do so. What happened, Toli? When this one has to go to the DNA test, he quickly ran to his own lawyers as a means of running away from the call from the investigations that have been done. So that's a misrepresentation of fact that the SAP records does not cite him as one of the suspects that has to be undergoing the DNA test.
The school, it would appear, MEC, it has taken action against someone whom they identify as a non-educating employee of the school who is allegedly a person of interest to the subs and has been placed on indefinite leave pending the finalization of the SAPS investigation. This is as a precaution to protect the rights of all concerned. Do you know the person that they seem to be referring to here?
That's another interesting aspect, Toli, because remember, the caretaker that they're referring to is an African man and is also part of the ones that are currently investigated by the police. And now they have immediately, he subjected himself into what the law enforcement agencies requires him to do. They quickly suspended him and not suspend the ones that we are talking about here, which is the principal, and also try to do any tricks in the book to make sure that he doesn't appear before the court of law. And I can assure you, during the course of the week, he is either going to go to court or he's going to be arrested. I can assure on that one.
You're referring to the principal right now?
Yes.
Let me ask you this then, MEC. Regarding the principal, have you gotten any clear indication from the police in the Eastern Cape that the principal is a suspect? Because there does appear to be frustration. The United Democratic Movement in that province is demanding urgent action from the police regarding this matter. So do you know whether the principal is indeed a suspect in this matter?
Yes, Toli. The principal is a suspect there. But above that, the principal deliberately not reported the case of this kid for almost a month and a half when it happened, up until the state organs get the information via the parent of this particular kid. So that was very much irresponsible of him to try to hide in the best interest of defending the brand of the institution at the expense of the lives of those kids. So that's why I'm then saying my serious concern is the safe of the ones that have not been yet reported to be raped in the school, more than the one that has been raped, because even on our own investigation, there seems to be so much that the law enforcement agencies are going to reveal about his conduct, even in the previous years. If you look very closely in terms of the ones that are affected around that particular school. So that's why I'm saying it's a misrepresentation of fact, trying to put the integrity of the institution at the expense of the victims of gender-based violence and femicide, which is a no in terms of the basic education that we have and regulations that we have in the country.
MEC Gade, those are very strong allegations. Are you suggesting that the principal may be linked to more than one allegation of rape, if you are putting it that he is indeed a suspect?
Yes, he is a suspect, and the police are busy working on that. And the brief I had is that during the course of the week, there is going to be a senior prosecutor to see whether the case can be proceeding within the ambit of the law and also within the space of the holidays. Because remember, we can't close a school in perpetuity, because there are those kids that are part of the schooling system there, which equally must be defended. So the urgency of the matter is paramount, so that he can be absolved from this particular saga. And that will need his cooperation, not the tactics that he's trying to do.
I'm going to ask you one more time, MEC Gade, as to where your information is coming from that the principal is a suspect. And I'll tell you why I'm once again putting it to you this way. A few hours ago, my colleague interviewed the mother of this child, who expressed her own frustration with the police and how the police have treated her in relation to her child having been allegedly raped. How can you be so sure that it is the same police who have now assured you that the principal is a suspect? And if so, you're confident that he will be appearing in court soon?
In terms of the internal processes, remember, these are three institutions. Is Education, Department of Justice, and also Department of Safety. From us internally, we've got our own investigations that we conducted sometime last year that I'm referring you to. But because of the criminal component of the matter, it has to be referred to the departments that are constitutionally mandated to do so. So from where we are seated, the matter is seriously under investigation, and the matter is going to be heard during the course of the week. And if then they are still firm that they have got nothing to do with the case, then we'll see there in the court of law. Because a responsible person, Toli, in particular a principal of a school and an adult, will never consciously run away from anything that is going to put him innocent or absolve him. So that on its own, that now we must discuss whether you must come and testify or not, is a problem for me. Because remember, you are given custodianship of multitudes of girl childs there that could be part of this saga in one way or another if this matter is not arrested with an urgency that it deserves.
MEC, let me ask you now to sway your attention. We're going to move away from Bergview College for a moment and focus the attention on a school in Komani, and that is where a child's hand was injured severely. And the understanding there, MEC, is that there wasn't adequate protective equipment. In fact, the very child who was injured was not wearing protective gear during a woodwork class or experiment that they were doing at the time. What is your department's knowledge of that matter?
That matter has been brought to my attention, Toli, a couple of weeks ago. Should be 2 weeks if I'm not mistaken. And we have sent a delegation, a multidisciplinary committee to investigate the matter. But I can safely say to you, indeed, it transpired that the protective services were not there when these technical work that were done by the kids at that moment. But what I have not yet been able to get to know, as per the report is still underway, is whether the school does not, or is it because of the negligence of the teachers? So I'm still busy working on that, but I can confirm the case in Komani, but I can confirm that the psychosocial services are busy working on that with the families concerned, but also attended the hospital where the kid has been in terms of the officials that I deploy in the district of Krisani West. So it's something that we are quite busy, quite aware of, but equally trying to find out what is it exactly that could have led to this kind of ignorance or negligence, if my wording is correct.
So you're saying that there could have been negligence. If so, if it is found ultimately that there is or there was negligence, what action will be taken? Against whom?
Surely government has got structures, government has got framework policies, and government has got all tools in trying to circumvent such kinds of incidents. So it's a matter that immediately we receive the report, we will have to apply our minds so that we don't experience such kind of unfortunate circumstances. So that's why I'm then saying, surely the report itself is going to indicate if we need to go for a disciplinary hearing and also execute the report entirely where it comes from. But I can sincerely take my hat off in apology to the family, because even if there has been a negligence on our side, it is not going to take away the fact that the kid has been injured. So we must first be humans and apply our own school of thought, having that humanity first, that this could have not happened by the way. And if it then happened in the manner that we are engaging on now, what could be the best way of avoiding it so that it doesn't happen again?
All right. MEC, I hope to engage you further on these two cases. Very, very important indeed. But I must thank you very much for your time this evening, MEC of Education in the Eastern Cape, Fundile Gade. Thank you.